Hey guys, this is Pablo with Meditation Amsterdam, and in today's video I want to talk about an email that I got from a person that I've been working with for a few months, who in great frustration was asking me whether he was cursed, because it felt like that. We had some incredible emotional openings. This person understands skillful means very, very well, and is now really in the midst of deep central channel opening as part of the work. To be honest, it's a very small amount of people who actually go there that quickly. Seems to be a matter of readiness on some level. The problem with opening is that when you open Pandora's box, every possible monster comes out crawling and threatening to devour you, and you have to stand face to face with emotions that we've been suppressing for a very long time. And I could really relate to the question when this person says, am I cursed? Why has everything in my life been so difficult? And now this process, which is explodes in my face, and it's even more pain. Now, it's not easy to be an empath. It's not easy to be highly sensitive. It's not easy to be feeling like one doesn't fit in, like the group might even take pleasure at rejecting us because we don't necessarily go with the inertia of competition and accumulation and injustice that is part of nature. And to feel things more deeply, and therefore to become perhaps introverted, perhaps disassociated. All those things are definitely not easy by any means. And at the same time, it's interesting to understand that pain has a certain wisdom to it that the thinking mind and the egoic mind could not possibly understand, because the egoic mind is trying to obtain pleasure and validation and security. Therefore, discomfort in the eyes of the ego is sort of always to be avoided. And it just so happens that discomfort is nature's way of creating growth and exploration in a way that even goes against the grain of natural inertia and goes into something else altogether. Cultivation of the higher self consists of having enough of a catalyst of pain for the process to be triggered and seen through. Otherwise, there's no real reason to bother with any of this. Maybe curiosity would take you pretty far, but pain tends to be a much more stronger catalyst for this. And in addition to needing a catalyst, we also need this dynamic of tension and release for that growth to happen. And that tension tends to come from pressures in the environment that make our system become sort of really stuck and uncomfortable to live in. So it definitely feels like a curse, I'll admit that much. And I received a comment the other day that I sometimes present myself as if I have my whole act together and I know exactly what I'm talking about. The latter might be, there might be some credit to the latter in the sense that I've studied this stuff for about 10 years now, and I've really gone as deep as I possibly can into neuroscience and Buddhism and Taoism and developmental psychology, depth psychology. Not so much scriptures and Sanskrit and stuff like that, because personally, I think it's a bit of a waste of time. Nice aesthetics, but that's about it. But my process is by no means finished, and I disclosed in several videos now that I'm toggling between non-duality and normal perception, right? That's where I'm at. Full disclosure. So, so I can relate to this notion of the whole thing being a curse, but I can also fully relate to the notion that if you have skillful means, then the pain of being an empath does not need to be mindless pain. It doesn't need to go to waste. It doesn't need to be simply, bad luck or whatever. It can turn into extremely good luck with the right means. The right means would turn discomfort and pain into a propeller for growth that is like jet fuel. And it does require that we are incredibly sincere with ourselves, though. Yeah. And especially when it comes to the shortcomings that the avoidance of that pain has made us fall into. And so it requires a certain turn of mind. It requires the right method. And frankly, I do think that, the whole notion of being cursed is just a mental idea. I wouldn't give it too much credit. I do understand what it feels like. And who knows what is the bigger game at play here? People who have made it all the way through to the other side, to the full realization of no self, would tell you to stay the course, to keep going, to be willing to feel fully, to be sincere, to apply skillful means, and to not stop at the viewpoint halfway through to the summit, which looks very cool, but to keep going all the way through because there is a there. As I said, I'm not stable in non-duality, but I have touched it, and I have also touched the cessation of the mind, and I can absolutely, without question, state that it is unlike anything the mind can imagine or describe or even chase. And once touched, once those spaces are touched, once those glimpses are given, I don't think we have much of a choice but to continue, because it is as if after a lifetime of drinking mud, you suddenly taste pure crystalline, pure mountain water, and you cannot forget it anymore, even though you get dragged into the mud by things in your upbringing, trauma, your lower nature, society with its distractions, its instant gratification, and the rest of it. It's not an easy path. It is called the great achievement, or battle in the field, has been called by in Taoist texts at some point. They wouldn't call it like that for no reason. We are going against the grain of nature here. We are going against millions of years of evolutionary pressure and an incredible inertia, an enormous inertia, an incredible momentum of nature. And we're going against the grain of no less than that. But we also have the opportunity to do so. And I think that's very important. I think that's something to be capitalized into. And the rewards are tangible when we start to apply those skillful means in a sincere way. So, are we cursed? I don't know. Dante wrote that you need to literally go into hell to get to paradiso. Jung wrote that you need to go into the depths of darkness in order to see the light, or rather become light. So the perennial literature is filled with accounts and stories telling us that this path is not for the faint of heart, but that there is if not a reward, there is a realization that is there to be gained by those of us who want to really see it through, who want to dedicate our energy to this, and just to make just as good an effort as we can to see this through with whatever intelligence, whatever company we can avail ourselves of, whatever information is at hand, of which there is plenty nowadays, whatever support, you name it, whatever reminders to keep you alert, whatever is at our disposal, we have to use. I've said this to people that I work with in the past. We are in a battle for our very life. There's nothing less than that at stake, for whether it is a wholesome and a constructive and a loving life, or whether it is a life riddled with fear and neediness and contraction, because the environment we're in and our very own nature has, like I said, a certain inertia or a gravitational pull that wants to pull you down. In the process of getting to know self, several psychological deaths need to be experienced. And this will test will test our resolve. As a matter of fact, it will test the sincerity with which you are willing to see the truth about yourself, the truth about how you have fallen short of being truthful, how you have potentially used or hurt others to get what you want, ignore things that were right in front of your face. These are very painful things to go through, very painful things to go through. And it requires, ironically, a bit of an empath, or a lot of an empath character to be interested in this, because something always feels kind of wrong. Without that fuel, or eventually something going really wrong in our lives, it's very unlikely that we would go through this process. So the main message and the invitation of today's video is to consider that which feels as a curse to be a catalyst, to be a kind of contraction before the release, which is the way that these things seem to work. And that if you are listening to this video, then chances are you have found skillful means to engage in the process, and hopefully enough motivation to see it through all the way. So that is it for today. It's Monday, so always a bit of a difficult day, perhaps not the cheeriest of subjects, but it is what it is today. And I'll hopefully be back with more videos pretty soon. I'm always curious what you guys make of this one. And as usual, if you think that this is content that might help others, then your liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel is highly appreciated and makes it more available out there. So I'll be back with more. Cheers. Bye.